want to start off by saying that I watched the first three episodes of A Fatal Attraction, and my first question must be, how dare you take on a role like taking on Michael Douglas in his prime,
Yeah.
because that's where the comparisons will go now. But from what I've seen so far, you're doing a great job, but you
Thank
didn't
you.
know that beforehand.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it's the exact right question. What kind of idiot would take on a want to remake an iconic performance? And the answer is this kind of idiot. Um, so yeah, I mean, that was basically my first question for Alex Cunningham, the writer of the show, is why do you want to tell this story and why do you want to tell it right now? And what I found so compelling about her answer is, look, one, and I hadn't rewatched the movie in many years at this point. She's like, you need to actually rewatch the movie because what you think the movie is you're remembering it wrong, and everybody does, and that's okay. But two, you the you can't get away with the perspective that that movie has now, right? Essentially, he's the victim of her craziness, and that's the perspective of the film. And
Kinda, yeah.
like it's a fantastic film, and it really works. That like it is really still a very good watch, but culturally, we're just so far away from that, and also it robs. I think we have an opportunity to enrich that story by saying, look, she's not a crazy person; she's a person, right? And really delve into all the things that make her her. And
Yeah.
then when we do that, we also get the opportunity to re-examine, like, well, what was he thinking? Why did he do this? And why did he do this with her? Like, what is it about her that specifically that was like perfect catnip for his ego? And then because we have the 8 hours and because of the structure of our story, we have the opportunity to revisit the consequences of these actions 15 years after the initial moment. And that to me was really fascinating to be able to go back and say, yeah, like just because the affair ended and just because you think that portion is over, no, this stuff ripples out through time. And now you have to deal with all of the things that come with that as they go on and on and on and on and on. And yeah, I found that to be a really compelling take on the story. So we'll see when it comes out if I'm an idiot or whether it was a good idea, but I'll let other people judge that.
Yeah, and also I know that Glenn Close actually fought for a different ending on the original movie, and they even taped that, but it's, made it go in another direction just to frame her character, like as you said, like the crazy person.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it's funny. I think she has a conflicted relationship. That role is so iconic and is just part of the cultural zeitgeist. But I think she has a really conflicted relationship with her performance because she had a broader idea of who Alex Forrest could be inside the context of that story. And
yeah,
so that's kind of what we're trying to do here, right? And I'll let her be the judge of whether we pull it off, but she was right back then that you're not a crazy person, you're a person, right? And there are reasons why people act and behave in the way that they act and behave, and to give that character the properly, it doesn't excuse any of her actions, but to have a properly empathetic lens on that story, I think that's the opportunity that we have in telling the story right now.
yeah. And also, I'm wondering a bit about the fact that it's described as this erotic thriller. It's I've seen The Affair, so I know you those
I've
kind of
been down
scenes
this
is
road
something.
before.
Yeah, you've been down that road before, but I was thinking it made me think like when they shot the original, and you've gone through this in the affair and other projects as well. Is that something you talked about with Lizzie, like the shooting of that? And I'm guessing nowadays you use intimacy coordinators and stuff like
Coordinators, yeah. So the answer is yes to all of those things. So um, right off the bat, had not just about the sex scenes and what they mean in the story, but it's an emotionally fraught relationship between these two, even at the best of times, right? So
that.
immediately got into those conversations of what, what this was and what it meant, and why these two people sort of became this thing for each other. And then, yeah, when you're talking about the like sex scenes in particular, we use intimacy coordinators now. We had a great coordinator on this show. The good news, like for me, the best version of having an intimacy coordinator is never having to know that they're there, because it means that everybody else has done their job and everybody, nothing untoward is happening. And in that case, you just have somebody who's there to like be another happy face on set.
Yeah.
But it is, it's very important to not make it the burden of the performers to be their own advocates in a space that they're already vulnerable, right? Because I have certainly been around situations where that has been the case. And I think it's a great step forward for how the industry works to not expect an actor or an actress who is already in a physically vulnerable state, in an emotionally vulnerable state, to have to then like put their hand up and stop 75 people from working to say like, actually, this is not okay.
Yeah.
We didn't have anything like that on this show, but I think I'm very happy that I'm very happy that the industry broadly has understood that the way that we used to do things is not acceptable.
Yeah, it makes me glad to hear. And but I'm really happy that you had the time to speak with me, and best of luck with the premiere.
Thank
And
you so much.